Hi, welcome to Love Saranghae with Peter and Andrea. In the next 30 minutes, we'll take you on a journey into the exciting world of entrepreneurship, relationships, and the secrets behind achieving that coveted glow. Are you ready? Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode of Love Saranghae with us, Peter and Andrea. Today, we're diving into the age-old question. Does the early bird really get the worm? We'll be exploring the benefits of waking up before the sun rises, the challenges that come with it, and whether starting your day earlier actually sets you up for success. If you've ever wondered whether early rising can transform your life, or if it's all just a myth, stay tuned.
Well, this is a great subject, Andrea. One that's near and dear to our hearts, especially mine. And full disclosure, we'll start this podcast by saying that we are early risers. So both Andrea and I get up early to start our day, and we believe it's a success to us. It's the secret to having a great day. So I get up at 5, and Andrea usually gets up around 5:30. So That's every day. Weekends, we have a little bit of leeway, but we still generally get up around the same time. And we absolutely love what it does for the rest of our day. Andrea,
so I guess the question, does the early bird really get the worm? That's it.
It's all the worms.
The worms.
I leave no worms for the late risers. I eat them all and then I store it for later.
I'll be honest with you, I was never an early riser until I had my son. My son's 8 now, but when he was about 2 years old, I was feeling really scrambled, and I felt like every time I'm dropping him off at school and then I get to my work, I was sweating, I felt behind on my day already, and it was like 8 o'clock in the morning. So I wanted to do something that would change that. So I read the book, The 5 a.m. Club.
There you go. Yeah. Remember that one. Yep.
And I mean, the book, the writing was kind of, I don't know, I didn't really like the storyline, but the message was really clear to me. Like, getting up early is going to change everything for you. So I just started. I just set my alarm for 5 o'clock, and I would force myself out of bed. I did the whole Mel Robbins 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and go. And in the mornings, I do celery juice in the morning, and I do my exercise, and I did journaling at the time. And then I would just get ready for my day. And then my family wakes up, and I'm already ready. So now all of a sudden, I have all this time to pay attention to my son, to get him ready for school, to have breakfast with him, to, have conversation with Peter. We were like skipping to my son's daycare. I would get to work half an hour earlier than I had to. And I was ready. Like, I was so ready for my day, and I had like a pep in my step. And that's when I realized, like, okay, that's the key. This is like, just get up earlier, fill your cup. And then the rest of the day, like, you're coming from that energy. You're coming from that place of, I'm already winning. And it's only like 6 a.m.
I mean, that feels great. But, and I'm going to, as I always do, I'm going to delve into the science. There's actually a science, and there are lots of books out there, and there's lots of podcasts extolling the values of getting up early. The physiology of it is actually quite interesting, right? So if I ask you the question, when do you feel the most creative and productive? 95% of the people will say the morning. As long as you are properly rested and you have a proper sleep, right? Like, if you go to bed at 3 in the morning drink all night, and then you wake up at 7 in the morning, of course you're not gonna be productive. But by and large, if you if you have good sleep, practice good circadian rhythm, 99% of the time you will be most productive, clear thinking and creative and logical thinking in the morning. And my math professor actually said this and explained it. The reason is because, I'll give you an example. Let's imagine that you're in a room, like a daycare, and you have a bunch of Lego blocks that are stacked together, clean, each morning. A bunch of kids come in and they start playing with it. Due to third law of thermodynamics, which says chaos, order leads to chaos, by the end of the day, those blocks are everywhere, right? And then those blocks get reset for the next morning, for the kids to come in, and it goes everywhere again. This cycle repeats. That is what actually happens to your brain and your head when you sleep. When you sleep, you spend the entire day accumulating knowledge, experience, all the things that you absorb throughout the day is random. It's literally just bits of information that's flowing through your head. When you sleep, with your body and your mind, your body heals itself, muscle tears, exercise, it gets better. Your brain actually organizes your thoughts into memory and logical thinking. It actually says, okay, I have all of this information. Let me organize into Lego blocks that you understand, that you can pull information from. You can Dewey Decimal System the hell out of this thing, right? And then in the morning, you're clear. It's the room is organized once again, and it's clean for the next day's activity. And that's why sleep is so important, because when you sleep is when all of this happens, right? Your memory, your brain, and your body. What we don't talk about is what happens the moment when you get up. It is the clearest, the most organized form of your mind and your body and your energy that you can get. Then everything goes to chaos from then on. That moment when you get up is the greatest potential of your mind, and then it decreases as it goes on. But that's the reason why waking up so early in the morning is so beneficial. Is because
and not looking at your phone.
Exactly, because you are now able to focus, though maybe 3 hours in that morning that you would rather have, into whatever you want to do. That singular focus with a clear, exceptional mind. That is the key.
Yes. I do a lot of my study in the morning, so I always like to read, or I like to listen to something inspirational or informative in the morning. And I do that for 1 hour every morning, and it's really, really powerful, because it really does, you receive it differently in the morning. At least I do. So this is how I do my morning, and maybe, Peter, you can share what your morning routine is, and what are some of the benefits. But for me, when I wake up now, the first thing I like to do is exercise. So I like to move. And then from there, I journal. And sometimes it's just a brain dump. Like, I have things on my mind and I just need to get it out. And that really helps to clear my mind and then have space for the more productive things. And then other times I'm writing about gratitude, or I'm writing my goals. But just the process of the act of writing is really powerful for me. And then after that, I study. So I listen an hour to something, or I read. And then from there, I get ready for my day, and then my family, the kids wake up, and then it's go time. But by that point, I'm dressed, I'm ready. I've had like a good hour and a half to myself, and I feel really awake and alive and excited for my days. And that's how I'm receiving my children. And that's how I'm receiving my family. So I'm already starting on a positive note, not the kids woke me up. I didn't have a minute for myself. I quickly got myself ready. I didn't get to do the things I wanted to do. Like, I'm already grouchy because I haven't had that time. So for me, that's my winning morning routine. And I try to do that 5 days a week. On the weekends, I still do some aspects of it, but sometimes I do it later. Sometimes I do a few less things because I do like to sleep in. I try to sleep in once a week. But for me, sleeping in is like 7 o'clock. So it's a little different from others. But Peter, what's your routine and why?
My morning routine changes depending on the season and depending upon what my ultimate goals are. Right now, I don't have any races or anything that's pending. So on Mondays, on 4 times a week, I will get up at 5 in the morning and be ready to go by 5:30. So I have coffee. I get up, I have coffee. I get dressed with my training clothes and then do everything I need to do. By the way, my running clothes are usually out. My shoes I want to wear for that day are already out. I get my nutrition, so that's my tailwind with water. My bag, everything is out. Headlights these days.
You prepare everything the night before. Yeah. You lay everything out. So there's no thinking about it. Like, where's my socks?
Yeah.
There's a charge.
That's
there's
frustrating.
My light charged.
That's frustrating. So then I would be out usually by 5:30. And depending upon what day it is and what I'm trying to do, I'll go up for either 60 to 75 minutes or 90 minutes that day. And it's usually a run. And it's either a long run, slow, or a workout, which is speed work or hills. And so I do some kind of exercise or training for that on that day. These days, on the odd number of days, though, I do sleep in a little bit because I want my body to heal. I did come back from a very strenuous event, the Zermatt 50K, the race. And so my body's just kind of recovering from that a little bit. So I'm giving my body some time to do so. Eventually, though, I will be up every day and I will be training every day a little bit, trying to get ready for a race or an event that I want to do my best at. That will be probably in the spring. So right now, I still do get up almost every day at the same time. 5 o'clock is on the dot for training days, usually 5:30 on the non-training days. On Saturdays, I give my wife a little bit of break. So I get up with the kids, make breakfast, again, 5:30 in the morning. And on Sundays, actually, I will be up maybe even earlier. Yeah, that's my day.
I give you a break.
That's my long day. So I will either get up, if I need to go to a trail, I'll be up by 4:30, be out by 5:30, be out on the run by 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hour run, be back by 10 o'clock or so. So it's the day that I take my longest training session and then come back. So that's my routine.
So what would you say is the number one benefit of waking up early?
My number one benefit of waking up early is everything just seems to work correctly, and I am focused and excited. All my energy is there to do what I need to do. First thing is to train, and my training goes exceptionally well in the morning. Exceptionally well in the morning. If I train in the afternoon, I don't feel as good about it. It's fresh.
I agree.
Yeah, I push hard and I feel great. And also, it sets the mood for the rest of the day.
That's right. When I'm training in the mornings, I feel very different the whole day. Like the whole day, I'm just, I get tired earlier at night. So that's one of the things with the early rising. You cannot sustain that if you are going to bed late.
That's right.
So one of the things we've had to adjust in our life is our bedtime.
Exactly. So that's probably the hardest thing, actually.
That's probably the hardest thing. Yeah. I agree. Because we have, with children, we have young children, and by the time they go to sleep, we only have maybe an hour, the two of us together, or even independently, to go do whatever we need to do or want to do in the evening before it's bedtime. So that's sometimes, I know for me, that's probably one of the challenges that I face with early rising, is that I don't have a lot of me time in the evenings.
Yeah. Well, the challenge that I face is two things. Number one is when you're wide awake at 9 o'clock and you need to go to bed to get those hours, it's very difficult to pry yourself from what you want to do or what you're doing and go to bed. And you're like twiddling your thumbs going, oh my God, knock me out. So, and it's so tempting to like pull your phone out at 9:15 and say, oh, I'll just fool around with this until I go to bed. And then it's like an hour and a half later, right? Yeah. That's the first thing. So you got to be disciplined enough to go to bed and stay in bed. And number two is, it gets easier as you start getting up in the morning because you're tired, right?
The habit. It's a habit.
The second thing, though, is that it does make it difficult for us to go out at night. So whenever we have a weekday obligation to go out with friends for dinner or, even, God forbid, drinks, because I don't drink alcohol, it affects me greatly. I dread it because then it messes up the routine for that day and then maybe even the entire week because when you lose that sleep, your body wants to get it back somehow, right? And it takes a while.
Off for the rest of the week, which is kind of, I would say that is a downside because Peter and I used to have weekly date nights when we had a babysitter before she went off to university this year. It was sometimes hard to go out. We didn't feel like going because we were ready to go to bed when she was showing up for us to go out. So those kinds of things are, I would say, challenges.
But I mean, there's also positives that come out of that too, because, I used to socialize after hours, which means you go to a bar, you go to a game, you go to something after hours and hang with your friends. Now, my friends now, we now do the workouts in the morning. So now we hang out by going for runs or bikes or more early morning workouts. So now we're all, in the mountains by 5:30 or the hills by 6 a.m. So we've changed our narrative in that sense. And I think it's for the better.
Yeah, you bonded over this early rising stuff now.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's
I
excellent.
like that. For me, I just find that I'm so much more productive. So for me, the morning is my most productive time. And I would say up until lunchtime, I'm the most productive. I can get a lot done.
Same here. Same here.
Most especially if I rise early and I've done my routine. Ideas come to me. It's such a peak state for me.
So if you can give advice to our listeners right now, and maybe one or two or three things that they can do to help them get started early in the morning, what would they be?
Just get up 15 minutes earlier.
Start with that earlier.
Let's just start with that. Or I mean, it depends how you are. Me, I'm the type of person to just rip the Band-Aid off and figure it out. But I know a lot of people are not like that, and it's really hard for them to even just comprehend 5 a.m. So if you're waking up at 7, like with difficulty, I would say the best thing to do is wake up at 6:45 and get used to that, and then make it 6:30 and get used to that. It's a long game. This is not something that you're going to do for a month. This is the plan.
Yeah.
And so if that's the goal, then I would just say go take it slow and easy, but 15 minutes every day. Every week, maybe do it 15 minutes a year.
My advice is if you have an activity or something that you really look forward to, do that the first thing after you get up in the morning. So for me, it's actually training or running. So I do that. That's the very first thing I do when I think about when I go get up in the morning. It's like, okay, I get to go run. So if you paint, if you exercise and run like I do, maybe bike, swim, maybe you like to read. Maybe you like to pray. Maybe you like to meditate. If there's something that makes you passionate about, like the thought of getting up and doing that is, oh yeah, that excites me, then wake up in the morning, do that the first thing, and that I think then will get you motivated to do so.
For sure. The other thing is to prepare. So like you put your clothes out the night before and get everything ready the night before. That takes away the thought. There's been a few times over the last couple of weeks that I did not prepare for my workout, and I couldn't find my sports bra, and I didn't end up working out.
Yeah. Yeah. Even the
so
little bit.
That small thing ruined my morning in that way, and I was so grouchy and like mad at myself for not just putting that stupid sports bra out where I could find it. It ruined my morning. Like I couldn't do the thing I wanted to do. So prepare ahead of time so that the morning is a success.
And usually, all momentum, when the morning's a success, your afternoon becomes a success, then your evening becomes a success, and your night becomes a success. So start off right. In the military, what they usually do is the very first thing is that you got to get up early in the morning and you have to make your bed perfectly. Yeah. And that's the
hospital corners.
Yeah, it has to be. That's the routine and is mandated. And the reason why is not because they want a clean bed. Obviously, that's nice. It's because what the military says is, the Army says is that the key to having successful day is to a mission or whatever they want to measure is to have an early win. Win first. Do something that you can have an easy early win. And that first thing is to wake up and make your bed. Then everything else follows afterwards. Same thing.
I feel that way too, because the days you sleep in and I'm up, I want to make the bed and I can't.
Yeah.
I don't want to come back and make the bed.
Exactly.
No.
So start winning.
It's like, that's done. That ship has sailed. But when I do, it gets me going. Like, okay, I made the bed. I was successful at that one thing. And now I'm going to do the next thing. And just it's like the momentum you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it permeates through your entire being, how you act, who you are.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I think a lot of military people actually have success in the future, is because that discipline translates into everything that they do afterwards.
Now, I have a question for you. What would you say to those people who would say, well, I'm a late bird. I am most creative at 2 a.m. What would you say to the person who feels the opposite?
Well, so I would say a couple of things. Number one, if that's truly the best time for you, because I guess out of 8.7 billion people on this planet, there's got to be one or two people that are most
At least.
yeah, that are most effective at 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. So to those people, I say, if that's truly the time that you are the most productive and the most effective, then that's your game. That's your call, and you build your life around that. I can't really say anything negative about that. But the second thing I have to say that is that is that truly the case? Like, have you split tested? Have you A/B tested that? For example, try 30 days at 5, a couple of months at 5 in the morning. Try getting the creative juices flowing early after a good night's sleep. So go to bed at 9, wake up at 5, get your stuff done, and see what happens. If during that A/B test you still find that you're more creative at 11 p.m., so be it. But make sure that's the case, and not you just making an excuse for yourself because that's easiest for you, right? You've always done it that way. And
that's the key, actually. Let me just pull that out for a second, is that it's easier to stay up late.
Yeah.
In that moment than to start early.
Exactly right.
It's easier to sleep in than it is to wake up early.
Exactly. Now,
so I think sometimes doing the hard things at the beginning of the day actually make you like, I did it, I accomplished that hard thing. Now what other hard thing can I do?
Exactly. So I'm going to end this answer by the third thing I wanted to say, which is I actually had that same conversation with my math professor at University in Waterloo. And so I remember talking to him and me saying that I'm a night owl. That's what I said to him, which is complete opposite of who I am today. Yeah, I'm a night owl. And he said, that's actually a misnomer. Said, he explained exactly what I said early in the podcast about memory retention, healing. He said, it is scientifically proven that you are the most effective and creative and productive between the hours of 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. Mm. It is scientifically proven. You just haven't adopted it. So I argue with him for about 10 minutes, and then I just, I say, whatever, like I'm different.
Typical Peter fashion.
Yeah. I walked away with at first I walked away thinking he doesn't know anything about me. And then about 2 hours later, I remember thinking to myself, but what if he's true?
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense. And so I tried it. And lo and behold, he was right. He was right by a country mile. I was so much more productive, so much more clear and decisive in those hours in the morning than I was at night. So I switched slowly but surely. I mean, it didn't happen overnight, but slowly but surely, my habits switched from night to morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been a morning guy for a long time.
Yeah. What a blessing.
It was.
That was.
And I've been a morning person so I remember that was my third year university. By the last year of university, I was getting up consistently in the morning, and then by my mid-30s, I was getting up way in the morning, and that was just the way my life was.
Well, from a skincare perspective, getting the first sun in the morning is the healthiest way to get your vitamin D safely. So that's the other part of the coin, is that we are living beings, and we need vitamin D and we need sun. But getting that sun in the afternoon is not as safe as getting it first thing in the morning. It also helps you to sleep better, and it sets your circadian rhythm.
Circadian rhythm?
Thank you.
Yeah. I will, and this might sound a little hokey, but if you haven't actually witnessed a sunrise, you're missing out. It'll change your life.
Truly.
So I would suggest, if you've never done so, or you think this is some hokey thing, take 1 week. Just test it out. 1 week, get up with the sun and watch the sunrise.
Actually, my father always gets up before the sun. And on the odd day where he sleeps in, he says he feels more tired when he doesn't get up before the sun.
There you go.
So anyway, there you go. These are just our habits that work really well for us, especially coming from two people who are not always morning people. So we invite you to try it out. Try it for a week, maybe 2 weeks. Try it for a month and see. But we'd love to hear what you think. So definitely, if you are going to accept our challenge of waking up before sunrise for a week or two, let us know, and we will hold you accountable, and we will celebrate you and support you through it. So just send us a DM on Instagram, and I'd love to hear from you.
Beautiful.
So thanks for joining us today on Love Saranghae. Whether you're an early bird or a night owl, the most important thing is finding a routine that works for you. If you found today's episode helpful, useful, be sure to share it with someone who could use a little morning motivation. Thanks for listening to Love Saranghae with us, Peter and Andrea. If you've enjoyed this episode, leave us a review. Your ratings and reviews help more people like you find our show. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and share this podcast with someone you think would love it. Until next time, love yourself, love one another, and love the world.